we're going to make key lime pound cake. So let's get started. First of all, you will need to buy a bag of key limes. And for this recipe, you need about a half a bag because you're going to need to squeeze a quarter of a cup of the key lime juice from one of these little greenish yellow limes that I have in my hand. First, let's start off with a cup of unsalted butter at room temperature that I went ahead and I cut up into little pieces because it makes it easier to blend it. I'm going to use my hand mixer at about medium speed. This is a recipe that you probably would want to use your large stand mixer, but for the video it's much easier for me to show you with my hand mixer here. You're going to need a half a cup of a solid shortening and put that in with the butter and start to cream the butter and the shortening together, and you're going to probably use medium to medium high speed on your mixer. Now once you start to blend that and cream that, it all comes together. You're going to start slowly adding 3 cups of granulated sugar. I'm trying to do this just a little at a time to incorporate the shortening, the butter, and the sugar together. And you're going to have to raise your speed, especially of your hand mixer, to about medium-high right now. It's going to become thick. So you might even want to go to high speed. I put the rest of my 3 cups of granulated sugar in, and I'll show you what that looks like. And it looks like this. I've creamed it together. And now you're going to slowly start adding eggs. And you're going to need 6 large eggs. So try to just add 1 at a time if it's possible, and start blending it together with your cream mixture. And then the mixture is going to start to get a little easier to handle. So that's my second egg. And blend it. Whoops, I just dropped my egg. So we'll just pick that up. In fact, we're going to put a little extra one in there. Another one. And start blending that. Clean the sides of your bowl. Now here comes the 5th egg. It's a real pretty lemony color, very creamy, very smooth mixture at this time. And I'm on medium-high on my hand mixer on the speed. And I'm going to put my last egg in. And that was a total of 6 large eggs. And we're going to mix and blend that last egg together. And then I'm going to show you what the batter what it looks like right now. You don't want to overbeat or overmix them. But I'll clean the sides of my bowl, get to the bottom, and mix it well. And so far, this is what it looks like. Very fluffy, very light, very manageable to handle the batter. You're going to actually start putting in your flour. And you're going to need 3 cups of all-purpose flour. And this, too, you want to blend a little at a time. And you want to keep your mixer on low because you don't want to shower yourself with flour. And I'm going to put in a half a teaspoon of baking powder. I'm going to put a little bit more flour in. Again on low speed so that we don't get splattered with flour. And 1/8 of a teaspoon of table salt to the mixture. Now you're going to need 1 cup of milk, and a little at a time, start putting that into your batter and mixing it. Now this can be on low speed. Add a little bit of flour, and again, continue with a little bit of milk. So you're really leading it with flour, milk, and so on. So you get rid of all your flour. It makes it much more manageable when you're trying to make a large cake like this. Now this particular cake, you should use a tube pan, a 10 or a 12 cup tube pan, because that's what I'm going to be using today. I'm going to put the rest of my flour in, and that was a total of 3 cups. And then I'm going to finish off and put the rest of the milk in at about medium speed and just blend it together. The lumps will go away, so don't worry about those lumps. But do mix it and work the sides of your bowl. Then I'll turn your mixer on high, clean those sides, and blend that batter together. We're going to now put in 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So we'll just mix that in. We're going to need 1 teaspoon of the key lime zest. We'll put that in. And the last thing that you're going to put in is 1/4 cup of the key lime juice. And then again, now we're going to just put it on high and blend it, work the sides of your bowl, and combine it. You don't want to overbeat, so probably within a minute or less than a minute you would be done with that. I'm going to bring it all together and I'm going to show you what it looks like. Very light, very fluffy, lemony color. I went ahead and I greased a 10-cup tube pan, and I put shortening on it, and I did dust it with breadcrumbs. This works so much better than flour. Go ahead if you prefer flour, but the breadcrumbs, you won't taste it. Many times the breadcrumbs actually just stay on the pan and not on your cake, but your cake comes out so nice. Now I'm just going to put my batter into my tube pan and just work it all around so it comes out nice and even. Try to get all your mixture out of there because you want this to be a nice big key lime pound cake. This cake can also be frozen in case you're not going to eat it all at one time. Just wrap it up real good with saran wrap and foil and put it in your freezer. Alright, then once you put that in your pan, tap it a bit. You're going to need to put the oven on at 325, and you need to bake it for about 1 hour and 15 minutes or 1 hour and 20 minutes. So start checking it. I usually start checking it within 1 hour. Put your cake tester in there or your toothpick. You know when it becomes dry, you know that your cake is now baked properly. I went ahead and made a cake ahead of time to show you, and this is exactly how it's going to turn out. Key lime pound cake. Now very quickly we're going to make a key lime icing for it. So you're going to need a cup of powdered sugar, 2 tablespoons again of your key lime fresh juice, and you're going to put 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Now you can use your mixer or you can just do it by hand. If your glaze comes out too dry, just as mine did, then I would suggest to add either milk or just a little bit of water to get that glaze to the right consistency. If you make it too thin, then just go ahead and add a little bit more powdered sugar to it. Get all the lumps out. Now once your cake has cooled on your rack for about 15 minutes, then you immediately want to take your cake out and then just start drizzling the key lime glaze all over the cake. And you don't have to be fussy with it. It's all going to drip nicely and really look very pretty, and it'll be a nice presentation for your cake. So just drizzle that on, and then just put that in the refrigerator to set, or let it just set out on the counter for about 15 to 20 minutes. Let the glaze harden, and then you're ready to serve. There you go. We have a key lime pound cake. Try the recipe. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.